Hi, this is Jeff Gamble out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and I am super excited to tell everybody that I have actually partnership with Josh Rose. Josh and I have actually been friends for quite some time. Met him about 10 years ago. He currently has a successful marketing company where he does websites, website design, social media marketing. I've watched this guy basically put together some really amazing stuff, some cool Scribe videos, and about 2 months ago, I actually brought him a project I was working on, and I'm really excited to say we've decided to partnership on it. It just made a lot of sense, and we need a huge favor from you. The favor is we just want to tell you what we're doing, so if you happen to run across the right person, you can refer them to us, and we'd appreciate that immensely. And what we're actually involved in doing is actually a credit repair company. I have kind of a unique background for credit repair, and the reason why I'm so excited about it is because I went through a lot of stuff myself. Just real quick, my background. At 19, I made about every financial decision backwards to what you should have done. Made a lot of wrong decisions. At 19, I ended up getting married while in college, and while I was in college and married, I decided to go self-employed. Went home, told my mom, who's a school teacher, my dad, who's a college professor, that I was going to quit college and start my own business. And you can imagine how well that conversation went. They were pissed. But I went ahead and did it anyway. And unfortunately, exactly what they warned me of happened. Imagine that. They knew what was going to happen. But I ended up going to a doctor, and that doctor told me to go to another doctor, and that doctor told me to go to a specialist, and eventually the specialist came out and said, look, we've done the test, and unfortunately you have cancer. That was not good. I ended up spending a year in the hospital, 2 surgeries, 6 months of chemotherapy. I went from a 165-pound athlete to 106 pounds, but I did make it. Thank goodness for modern medicine. I was able to pull through. I came out on the other side, and I was, quote unquote, by their words, cured. But I did owe everything. I didn't have insurance, so I owed about $250,000 in debt, which is obviously not good. I decided not to throw in the towel. I was like, man, there's got to be a way out of this. There has to be a way to make enough money to pay it off. So what I did is I started looking around at, who made a lot of money. And back then, every night on TV was Charlton Sheets, No Money Down. So I ended up getting that program about buying houses and flipping houses, and I was actually pretty successful at it. I got into real estate. I started flipping houses. I ended up flipping 18 properties in about 36 months, started making a ton of money. I built a real estate team of about 15 people who, most were part-time. There was a couple of us that were doing a couple deals a month, and everything looked great. I was going to be able to pay everything off. Unfortunately, 2007 and 8 happened. One thing led to another, and all of a sudden things started crashing around me and tumbling, and I went from a 4-bedroom amazing house in Fishers, Indiana, 2,800, I think it was almost 3,000 square feet, 2-car garage, 2 new cars, travel, clothes, everything that I thought success was, to all of a sudden a builder calls and's like, hey, we're going under, your 9 commissions aren't going to happen. That was approximately $70,000 that was supposed to come in. At that point, with the houses and all my expenses, just to break even, I needed $27,000 a month just to break even at one point. It was ugly. Everything crashed around me, credit cards, foreclosure, my car got repossessed. It was just, nasty. In the end, I spent the last $1,000 I had buying a $600 truck, and it was just as bad as what you can imagine. I mean, just imagine a $600 truck and take away all the nice stuff. It was ugly. It was 4 on the floor, which means it was a manual, and there was no parking brake. It had basically melted away or frozen or something. So you actually had to put it in gear so it wouldn't roll away. On my way to an appointment one day, I forgot to actually put it in gear, and it started rolling past me. Thank goodness I ran track, because I caught it, jumped in the car, and slammed it in gear before it ran into my client's car. I was on my way to a real estate appointment. So, sorry, that happened. But back to the story, everything fell apart. I ended up in front of an attorney. And the attorney looked everything over, and he's like, look, I know you're in the process of getting divorced and everything else is crashing around you, but you owe approximately $3 million. And unfortunately, there isn't a payment plan for that. So you really have three choices. Choice number one is you can get on a plane somewhere we can't find you and you can get away. And that plan sounded really good, but I didn't choose it. Plan number two is he said you can win the lottery, but you might have to win it more than once to get out of this, how much debt you're in. Or choice three was basically to file bankruptcy and start all over again. And unfortunately, that's what I had to do. I had to file Chapter 7, went from living in that nice house to basically living on a couch. Went from having a brand new car to having the $600 truck that didn't have anything that worked. And I was like, I've got to get out of this. I have to find a way. So what I did is I actually created 6 steps to basically put myself back on track. And the day my bankruptcy discharged, I actually started with step 1, which was pulling my credit. I then got all 3 scores in front of me, which were terrible. It was like a 400, a 400, and then just over 500. So crap credit. I had 38 things on my credit report at that point that were bad, which is step 2. I did an evaluation. I wrote down every single item that was on my credit. I said, is this good? Is it bad? Does it need to be deleted? Does it need to be removed? What needs to happen? And made a plan. Step 3 was optoutprescreen.com. The 3 credit bureaus actually sell all of our information to other companies, and that's how we get junk mail. That's how junk mail knows where to go, because the credit bureaus are actually selling our information to these other companies. Well, what I did is I opted out of that system, and there's 2 things that happen when you opt out. Number 1, you don't get junk mail, which is awesome. And number 2, it actually raises your credit score. The reason it raises your credit score is because you're no longer a risk factor to sign up for all that crap that they're sending you. So that was kind of cool. Step 4, I established credit. Within 4 days of that bankruptcy, I went to the bank, I took $300, I put it into an account, a savings account, $300 that I needed. I did not have $300 extra. It was $300 I needed, but they issued me a secured card in the mail. I then made the payments I needed to make on that card with the $300, and then I paid it off. And I kept it on time, paid on time, over the next 7 months. Step 5 was the disputing process. I actually read the 1971 Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's amazing if you want to fall asleep and never wake up. It was awful, but there were 2 good things I learned out of it. One, all the information on your credit report has to be absolutely accurate to the dollar, because if it's not accurate to the dollar, then it changes your credit score, and that's kind of like fraud. It's like fake, it hurts you. So that's one rule. And the other rule is for a creditor to put something on your credit, they've got to go through a due process. And 80% of the information on people's credit reports is inaccurate. So how well do you think they probably follow the process? They don't. So you're actually able to challenge that and get stuff removed based on technicalities is really kind of that's my opinion. I don't know what the legal jargon is, but that's what I did. I disputed everything on my credit report. I wrote a separate letter for each item on each credit report, which, if there was 37, 38, it was a lot of letters. Over 100 letters went out. And then I followed up and did it again when stuff came back. And then I followed up and did it again when stuff came back. And I kept reevaluating that situation until I needed step 6, which was payment plans, settlements, or using an attorney to basically threaten to sue the creditor for not doing what they were supposed to do. There was only like 1 or 2 of those that I had. Thankfully, I had a friend that was an attorney, and we got that shit taken care of. So here's the result. 7 months after that almost $3 million bankruptcy, I actually pulled my credit again, and my credit scores had risen to a 691, just over 700, and a 729. All amazing scores comparatively to where I started in 7 months. So from then on, everybody asked me, well, how did you do this so fast? And I shared with them those 6 steps. Now, fast forward to today, obviously that was, over 10 years ago. I've helped a ton of people. And some people who knew that was my background actually approached me and knew that I was looking for some kind of company, some kind of system that would help automate that. And friends of mine, Jeff Johnson and James Johnson, got on the phone with me and said, hey, would you do us a favor? We want you to see this and tell us, what your thoughts are. I said, sure. So James actually got on the phone and he said, I'm going to describe to you, who this company is and their background and what they do. I said, great. The company was FES, Financial Education Services. And he's like, they've been in business since 2004, so they're actually just about 14 years old. For the first 10 years, all they did was traditional advertising. They, did TV, radio, newspaper, ads, and they did credit repair. I was like, okay. And about 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, they decided to start an outside sales force. and it became extremely successful in Georgia and Florida because that's where the two biggest salespeople are. So they're looking for somebody to help launch the Midwest. I was like, okay, awesome. I'll help out with that. It sounds good, at least. I'll listen. And they said, look, the service is pretty simple. There's 12 services for a customer and 13 services for our agents that work with us. The 12 services are credit repair, obviously. Number 2 is they have credit attorneys to help out with harassment in-house or litigation. 3, they have a program called Credit Builder, which helps you establish credit and then grow your limits, which a lot of people need to know how to do. Step 4 is something called Smart Credit, which is like Credit Karma. It gives you all 3 bureaus and your scores and automatic updates. 5 is LifeLock. A lot of people know who that is. #1 identity theft program in America. Step 6 is, or program 6 is FES Debt Zero. Very similar to the Dave Ramsey program. It's basically like the snowball technique, showing you a spreadsheet how to get out of debt. Number 7 is My Care Plan. That's wills and testament. A living will along with a trust, and it shows you basically, has a call. You can call in and give updates and figure out what to do and answer all your questions. 8 is Financial Lockbox, very similar to a regular lockbox, only in cyberspace. It collects every single document that you ever need to start over. So we're talking about Social Security, your birth certificate, all financials, all insurances. You can actually upload into this secure server with a passcode and a beneficiary, so you can press a button and get it back in case of theft or fire or something happens. The rest of the program for a customer is more about saving money and education. They have a website for saving money, they have a website for travel, and they have a website for discounts on prescription cards, 15 to 80%. And last, they have a program called Family Mint, which actually teaches about financial education to children, which is kind of a cool program. So that is the suite of products. My big question was, okay, how much? It's $89 a month. So I was like, wow, James, that's actually, that's really doable. I said, most programs in in credit repair start somewhere $300 to $500 to start up, and they're anywhere between 50 upwards of a couple $100 a month. He's like, yeah, it's $89 a month, and there's a one-time $99 startup fee. So it's $188 for a customer to start, and it's month to month. Obviously, people might want to keep the program longer, but they don't have to because it's month to month. They believe in what they're doing. So I asked, well, how long does it take? And he said most people will see changes in the first 40 to 45 days. I'll be honest, I was skeptical. I decided to use it myself. I started the program in December, clicked through what I needed, got my packet in the mail, mailed it out, and in the end of January, I got my reports back. And my score had jumped 41 points in that 40 days. I didn't believe it. I went to I have another service that shows me my credit report and my numbers, and I looked, and it jumped 41 points there too. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Out of what was there was 3 potential negative items. They had already removed 2, and I just sent out my new packet. So with that, I was excited about the program. I was like, this was all automated. I didn't have to talk to a single person. That's amazing. I want to work with you guys. I said, well, how do you make money? That was my next question. I actually called these guys back towards the end of January, and they said, well, it's pretty simple. We have basically 3 kinds of people we're looking for. Number 1, we're looking for inside sales reps, people who sell the credit repair itself. Every time as an agent you sell a credit repair program, the 188, $100 of that 188 gets sent directly to the agent as a bonus, and also an additional $12 off of the membership gets sent as well. So it's $112 commission for sharing that program with somebody if they sign up. And I was like, well, that's kind of amazing. And it's $12 a month. So if they kept the program for the whole year, one client would be worth $220. I was like, that's awesome. So that's the first type of person we're looking for. The second type of person opens corporate accounts. Real estate companies, mortgage companies, auto companies, debt settlement companies, all these different kinds of companies. Actually, we can set them up, and they can actually use this program to basically fix people, get them on track, and sell them their product. And then the third type of person we're looking for is a recruiter trainer. You have the ability to earn anywhere between $40 up to $185 every time you recruit a new rep with a membership. There's also a bonus that's available within 70 days for helping them find the first 2 clients or the first 2 customers. So the program is pretty amazing. We're appreciative that you were able to look at it. The purpose of this video was just to share with you what we do. So if you know of somebody who needs the program, obviously you can refer them over to Josh. Josh will take care of them. If you have some more interest in the recruiting or corporate accounts or how we train people, it's part-time or spare time is really what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are interested in making more money. So if you happen to know any of those people or want more information, please contact Josh. He'll get me on the phone. We'll get you all the details. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.